Good evening everyone and welcome back to another session of Fingertips. Today we are going to talk about circulatory systems. So what are circulatory systems? Circulatory system is the system which actually is the system which helps in communication of the different organ systems in the body. It basically flows through throughout the body so that whatever is excreted can be excreted by the excretory system, and whatever is digested or taken up as an energy form is taken up from the digestive system, or whatever exchange has to be done is done by the respiratory system. So all these systems communicate with each other through the circulatory system. Now this system is basically of two types, the open type and the closed type. The open circulatory system is the system where the blood is poured into a sinus and all the cells are basically dipped inside that sinus. This leads to a lot of intermixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, and it also decreases the concentration difference, which is what was originally generated by the organ systems. For example, in case of gases, which was originally generated by the respiratory system. So a lot of energy goes to waste. To overcome that, we have developed closed type of circulatory system over the time, wherein there are vessels where the circulatory fluid is actually flowing and the cells never really come into direct contact with the fluid. However, there are capillaries which facilitate the diffusion of substances from the tissue cells and to and from the tissue cells and the circulatory fluid. So if we go and find out in the animal kingdom, so open circulatory system is seen in invertebrates below annelids, and it also includes non-cephalopod mollusks. The closed type of circulatory system is found in cephalopod mollusks like octopus or sepia and vertebrates as well. So when you talk about vertebrates, we come in vertebrates under the class Mammalia, and we also have the closed type of circulatory system. So coming to the human circulatory system. So our circulatory system is the closed type of circulatory system, and it basically consists of three components, that is the blood vessels and the heart. The blood is the fluid, the blood vessels are the tubes, or the blood vessels are basically arteries, veins and capillaries, which I told are in actual contact with the tissue, and the heart, which is the pumping organ which helps in the circulation of the blood through these blood vessels and maintain that pressure for the flow of the blood. So we will discuss all these components one by one. First comes the blood. The blood basically has a fluid part and a part which consists of the formed elements. The fluid part is the plasma, and the formed elements basically consist of three cells, which are the RBCs, the red blood cells or the erythrocytes, the WBCs or the white blood cells and leukocytes, and the platelets or the thrombocytes. Now, the plasma is the fluid part of the body. It contains basically 90% of water and is a pale yellowish color of liquid. So, plasma helps in the circulation of all the substances which are basically carried in a dissolved form. For example, all the hormones, the glucose, the protein, the enzymes which are needed, or the gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, the nitrogenous waste which is generated. So all of this is basically traveling in our blood in a dissolved form directly in the plasma. Now coming to the formed elements or the cells. Now the red blood cells or the erythrocytes, these red blood cells are red because of the presence of a pigment which is called hemoglobin. Now hemoglobin is basically an iron containing pigment, and it is responsible for the transportation of the oxygen. Basically, largely oxygen travels in the combined form with hemoglobin. However, hemoglobin is actually capable of combining with carbon dioxide as well. However, most of the carbon dioxide prefers to be transported directly in the dissolved form with plasma. So hemoglobin therefore is responsible for the transportation of oxygen gas. Now, WBCs or the leukocytes, the white blood cells are the soldiers of the body. So suppose as you know, there are a lot of antigens which or the pathogens which are like surrounding us, and they are the foreign material which we inhale or which we come in contact with and come inside our body on daily basis. But however, all of this does not make us fall ill. So there must be something which is protecting us from all these foreign bodies. So that are the WBCs or the leukocytes. The leukocytes are of two types basically, granulocytes and the agranulocytes. Now granulocytes are called granulocytes because they have small granules. If you see the microscopic view, they have small granules inside them. And they are namely the acidophils, the basophils and the neutrophils. Whereas non-granulocytes have a clear cytoplasm. So they are the lymphocytes and the monocytes. Now, coming to the platelets. Platelets are basically either they are the fragments of cells, they are not actually cells. So the platelets are the part of the form elements which have the function of clotting. So platelets are the cells which actually prevent the blood from continuously leaking from any point of injury. So whenever there is an injury, we can see that the blood starts oozing out from that particular injury. But after some time, we can see the blood stops coming out. So what stops it in the first place are the platelets. So these are the formed elements of the body. Apart from that, if you see, actually you must have seen the reports, and the reports have a basic count. Okay, so the largest number is of that of RBCs. Now RBCs are the biconcave, or RBCs erythrocytes are the biconcave. They have a structure like this from the side. So this basically is so that they can increase the surface area, or that is comes in contact with the gases, and also they are enucleated so that they can make up the space for hemoglobin, so that hemoglobin can actually come in contact, combine with the gases. Okay, and apart from that, if you see it from outside, you will see it in a disc shape. Okay, the WBCs do not contain any pigment, therefore they are white. And first of all, the number of the RBCs. So RBCs are mainly mostly 5 to 5.5 million per millimeter cube of blood. And in females, however, the number is a little less, and it is 4.5 to 5 million per millimeter cube of blood. And now the WBCs are white, they do not contain any pigment, they can be round or irregular in shape. And as I have told you the different subtypes of the WBCs, they all have a different structure when you see in a microscopic examination. So the number of WBCs largely is from 4,000 to 11,000 per millimeter cube of blood. Now the platelets are again round, small circular. The platelets are very small, okay, and these are the smallest cells, so they are also round, and they are around present 1,50,000 to 3,50,000 or 4 lakh per millimeter cube of blood. So that is the count of the formed elements. Now talking about the blood vessels. The blood vessels are of three types: arteries, veins and capillaries. The thickest of them are the arteries. So basically, arteries are the thick-walled blood vessels in which the blood flows with very high pressure, and these take the blood away from the heart. They consist of oxygenated blood except there is an exception of pulmonary artery, which takes the blood from the heart to the lungs and contains deoxygenated blood. So this is about the arteries. They are thick, muscular, take the blood away from the heart, mostly oxygenated blood, or exception pulmonary artery, and apart from that, arteries have high pressure of blood that is flowing in them. That is why they are deep seated, so that in case of any injury, the arteries are not injured in the process, because if the arteries are injured, then because the flow of the blood is in very high pressure, so there would be a very large loss of blood in a very small amount of time because of the high pressure. So they are deep seated. The veins are the vessels which actually take the blood towards the heart, and mainly they carry deoxygenated blood. However, with an exception of pulmonary vein, which carries oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. So the veins are thin walled because the pressure is not that much in them. The blood is actually flowing without any jerks and at low pressure, and that is why the wall of the vein is not that muscular and it is rather thin. So that is about the veins. The veins are more superficial than as compared to the arteries. Now coming to capillaries. Now as I have already told you, the arteries and the veins are not in direct contact with the tissue cells. However, the capillaries are. So capillaries are the finest vessels of all. They are with the thinnest wall, which consists actually only of one cellular layer, which is of the squamous epithelium, that is called the endothelium, and they are in contact with the tissue, with the cells of the tissue, and the exchange of the gases and all the material actually takes place from the blood in the capillaries to the cells of the tissue. So the arteries before entering the tissue, it basically divides into a lot of capillaries. The capillaries spread out as a network inside the tissue. The cells basically come in contact with the capillaries and the exchange takes place. After that, the capillaries start combining again and they actually drain all the fluid they are taking into the vessels known as veins. So this is about the vessels, the blood vessels, arteries, veins and capillaries. Very famous question, the difference between the arteries and veins. So do not forget to note it down. The heart is a pumping organ and it is a very interesting topic, and the structure of the heart is therefore taken as a completely different video for all of you. So hope you guys liked the video. If you liked it, really liked it, please drop a like down. It really helps our channel, and do comment any of your doubts. I will go to the comment section and get back to you. Share it with your friends if you like, and subscribe our channel. Thank you.